Welcome to Respec Games, where we respect games. This is Tail. This is Polo. I'm Polo. That's Tail, and we are Respec Gaming Podcast. Thank you so much for checking out Respec Gaming Podcast. The gaming podcast is brought to you every Wednesday at 7 a.m. We appreciate the love and support we are getting. Make sure if you like anime, you check out Mic Check Waifu Waifu, youtube.com/@MicCheckWaifu. The anime podcast is brought to you every Tuesday at 9 a.m. CT. Welcome to episode 8. 7? 8?
8.
Wow. 8 episodes. 8 weeks of Respec Gaming. How you feel, Tel?
Feels good, brother. Feels good.
I feel like we got the swing of it now.
Yeah. Feel like it's been I wouldn't even say acclimation. I feel like it's been a reassertion.
Yeah. A reassertion and a dive into a new journey. It's been nice. And the support has been crazy. YouTube is constantly growing. The listens is trickling in. We appreciate everybody for giving us an opportunity, a chance for you to be a part of this niche within a niche podcast.
In a niche.
Yeah, because we are, I do still feel like we are a niche because, again, most people, with respect, most people come to gaming for discourse, it seems. We not about that, man. We all about respecting the game. So, anyway, Tail, let's start off every episode with respect. We're going to give out our with respect badges. And if you don't mind, I would like to start.
Go ahead, brother, man.
Now, I am a filthy mobile game enjoyer, even though I play every mobile game that I play on PC. So it's kind of ironic, the irony within that. But there is a new mobile game coming out that I have to give my respect badge to. It comes out October 28th, and it's called Duet Night Abyss. Now, what makes Duet Night Abyss is that it's a gacha game. Well, yeah, technically it's a gacha game. But it's a gacha game where all of the characters are free. All of the weapons are free. The only thing you gacha for is costumes. What's cool about that is that this is a whole different realm, and it's kind of scary because everybody knows that if you're a gacha game enjoyer, like a Genshin enjoyer or Weather and Waves enjoyer, Weather and Waves being my favorite of the two, in like Persona Phantom X, I love that too. And if you play those games, those are all about hitting you with the FOMO, right? The fear of missing out on characters or weapon banners or whatever. The fact that this game decided to go the route of all characters are free and all weapons are free, you just got to play for them. Now, yes, if you do want to not grind for them, you can pay for them. Like, just pay for them outright, though, so you don't have to roll for it. You just buy it, and that, I think, alone is huge. But what Duet Night Abyss is basically the Warframe, but in gacha anime form, and I'm all about that. You farm characters, you piece them together, and it takes time for them to for you to acquire them. But once you get them, you have them, and you don't have to worry about missing the banner or anything like that. And I think that's just so cool, and they deserve that with respect because, again, when you're a mobile game enjoyer, these type of games thrive off of getting money from people via character banners and weapon banners. So to come out with a game like this and not have that, it's going to be an interesting scientific experiment, if you will, to see if something like this can work. Because if you could come out with a game like this, how do you make money? Because the thing with gacha gamers is they don't spend money unless it's on banners for the characters or weapons. So if they don't have to spend the money on the characters or the weapons, are you going to make money? You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's like, it's a little concerning, but I'm here for it.
I actually think that game's gonna make a killing.
Think so?
And I'm gonna tell you exactly why I think it is. It's because as someone who is a gacha gamer, I play Ethereum Restart at the moment, and I'm not gonna say I drop a bag, but I definitely spend a little bit of money on that game currently.
Yeah, I do on Weathering and Persona. Sorry,
and the current Pokemon TCG game, I actually spend more money on that one than I do anything. But
makes sense.
I think that the idea, it fosters the sense of uniqueness, right? So if everybody's gonna have all the characters, it's more about like, okay, well, how do you dress your characters in, or how do you play your characters and how do they look within the world? And I think it's almost like playing a racing game where you can customize your car. You know what I mean? You want to make it at least look somewhat like you.
Yeah.
Or like what you want to play like. So I think that's actually an amazing idea.
I didn't think about that. Well, and also the fact that the first costumes you're probably going to come out with is bathing suits. So
yep, there you go.
That also will sell. So
$200.
Exactly. Good point. Very, very good point. What would you like to give your with respect badge to? Teliano.
With respect, I'm going to give my with respect to a game that I was in the alpha for. And when I was playing the alpha for this game, I was skating around this game and it was blocks. You know what I mean? Like my character didn't even look like anything. I wasn't allowed to record or anything like that. But for Skate, the game, especially with the new one coming out relatively soon, I think September 16th it comes out. The early access, it felt so bare bones, you know what I mean? But it was intentional because all they focused on was literally the actual smoothness of the gameplay. They didn't implement anything other than how you play the game. And I think they had like a very basic soundtrack. And when I tell you, like, in that early access, the things that you could do felt amazing. I really had no idea what my character was gonna look like, though. Like when I say it was so bare bones, it literally they gave you like maybe 3 overall like stencils of a character, but it wasn't fully rendered out, so I had no idea what I was gonna look like. But the gameplay felt intuitive. It felt like, you know how we used to have those little kick deck toys? They were skateboards you play with your finger. Mm-hmm. It felt like I finally figured out how to do that.
So you're referring to the alpha, not the early access. Is September 16th.
Yes, it was alpha. Sorry, yes. I was in the alpha. And
that's interesting.
I think playing it was legitimately fun. It was a new experience. I've played a lot of skating games, and I've even played games like, if you remember this, way back when SSX Tricky and stuff like that.
That was my first PlayStation 2 game.
I love those games, right? That was a great game, by the way. God, I wish I miss it. But it's something that I look at when I play this, when I played that game, and I was like, man, this game is both ridiculous, yet somewhat grounded when you play it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's very hard. It's a very hard medium to master, though, because I'm doing tricks off a 100-foot ramp across the world into a church, and then I land on the ground, and I still have to balance the tricks I'm landing. So I think that them finding a happy medium with the actual gameplay before diving into all the other aspects of the games, without trying to necessarily make it look pretty first, but make it feel good first, was a great concept and a great way to go. But with respect, I think the game will be amazing. It's another game I'm excited to play soon.
It's always been Skate's thing, where you do stunt defining tricks, but it still takes skill to land it, or it's always wonderful to see Skate videos where people are doing these ridiculous tricks in Skate 3 and landing them across freaking crazy gaps. It's one of my favorite franchises. I will never forget my cousin Nick's actually got me hip to Skate, and I loved it ever since. It's so good. So good. Because you
put me on the Skate.
Yeah, and it was because of him. So he's I'm looking forward to that one. I can't believe it's September 16th though. It's kind of sad that it is that day, but we're gonna get to that a little bit later. Moving on to the vertical slice. Ching. What you got for your vertical slice this week?
My first time playing this game, I said I was gonna play it. Hollow Knight. Mm-hmm. Yo, bro. The game is actually, I feel like it's as good as I was expecting. And what's so cool about it is the ambient pressure of the game. I'm in the game. I have no idea. It doesn't tell you what necessarily to do. It literally just drops you in. You know what I mean? It feels like that Castlevania kind of game. And I was talking to another friend about how I run into this character and I start fighting, and I'm like, man, can I beat this character right now? Am I supposed to beat this character right now?
Yeah.
And I get destroyed. I get absolutely decimated. And I come back and it's like, I feel like I'm supposed to be able to beat this character. And I sit down and I just look at what is happening in front of me and I play the game and I beat the character. I keep running around. I haven't really done anything major yet. I find a boss and I beat the boss. And it's like, okay, this game is so heavily dependent on it. I'm not going to say it feels similar to a Souls-like game, but it's so heavily dependent on you learning what that attack pattern is and moving around. It feels like playing Mega Man or Castlevania mixed together actually extremely well. It feels like that, but very well blended. And then the audio, the soundtrack, and everything that's interactive within the game is crazy. I'm bad at it right now, but I'm pretty sure that pretty soon I will be good at it.
Again, it takes some skill to learn. Probably, yeah. I came to the conclusion after watching more of it. I just don't, and this is about to sound crazy because I was a big fan of the side-scrolling Mega Man games too, but more of the Battle Network Mega Man games. I just don't think side-scrollers are for me. I think the last side-scroller I had a fantastic time with, and I'm trying to remember it, but it's on the tip of my tongue. It's a Ubisoft game. Not Rayman, but it was one that was so, it's kind of like, it faded into obscurity, but it was so good. I can't remember the title of it. I think you played as a girl. But that's the last one that I played that I really, really enjoyed. And after that, it came out around the time where it was just too many side scrollers too that I talked about last week. But I just I don't find myself gravitating toward those games anymore after I guess that era of like, I can't remember the names of them right now. But it was just an era where it was just a bunch of those coming out like on PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4. And I'm just like, I was burnt out and I never went back. And I don't think I can even now. Like because there's just so much other stuff that fills my time now. I.e. next week having Borderlands. Borderlands is going to take up all of my time. You know what I mean? And that's
low key kind of topic worthy.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. It's just so much. But my vertical slice is still Path of Exile 2, and I play more Guild Wars 2, obviously. So I'm not going to touch on Guild Wars 2. Actually, I am a little bit on Guild Wars 2. I finished the End of Dragons expansion, which is the end of literally the overworld story of Guild Wars 2. So Guild Wars 2 was about these elder dragons that I talked about a few episodes ago. These elder dragons coming through and losing control and almost decimating the world. So I finished the End of Dragons. You can surmise as to what that was about.
Right.
But I am going to, and I guess I could talk about this in Game Over too, but I am going to create that one last video. It's basically going to be a review of the story and my thoughts on the expansions and where I'm at in the game right now and how I feel about the game still. So that's coming. But Path of Exile 2, I got to about, I believe, tier 10 maps in the end game of Path of Exile 2. And it's kind of relevant to the topic that we're going to have, I guess, at the end of this. But I think when I think about Path of Exile 2, and I talked about this with Monty Purvis, the guy that we game with, I say when I say to myself, and I say this all the time when I'm playing Path of Exile, either one or two, what am I doing this for? And that is the every time I ask myself that question, I don't want to do it anymore.
Man,
because I hit myself with that question and I'm like, shit, what am I Path of Exile for now? I'm T10 maps. I'm clearing pretty well. It feels great. It's still fun. I'm still having fun, but what is my reason? Because there's no more story left. I guess I could beat the pinnacle bosses, and the pinnacle boss being the hardest bosses in the game. That's normally what you strive for, and that's what I did in season when the game first came out. When I got my level 95 monk, and I beat the pinnacle boss. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But like right now, this early, I just feel, what am I doing this for? So while I enjoy it, I love this patch. It's been fantastic. I just kind of like am grazing at it now instead of diving or blasting through it like I was at the beginning. So it's been more Guild Wars 2 than Path of Exile, but I still enjoy it. I still think it's great patch, but I don't find myself wanting to create another character. I don't find myself wanting to get to T15 maps and defeat the pinnacle bosses again. Like I just don't, with respect.
That's another topic worthy conversation right there, because you think about that's literally what is the end game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And is the end game justified enough for you to continuously keep playing this game?
And that's a great question, because right now, and I say this to multipurpose love the game, so he kind of goes to bat for it. But for me, it's like they have this whole mapping system that's cool, where you kind of like make your way through these nodes, right? When you make your way through these nodes, you go to different maps and you make your way towards these towers, or you make your way towards these citadels to then get to the pinnacle bosses. But making your way through these nodes is the most tedious thing, and it just unfortunately don't feel good right now. It's early access, so the game isn't obviously released. It's only the third major patch, so I can't really fault it for that. The fact that they have this much content already and it's only the third major patch is pretty damn good, in my opinion. So kudos to them, and they deserve a respect badge for that. But because I'm going through these maps, it's not really much there to it. And it's like in Path of Exile 1, you get these map tablets that drop, and you get to pick which map you do. And it goes into this big ass atlas tree that has thousands of nodes in it. Not thousands, I'm being hyperbolic, but hundreds of nodes that are still very useful, like where you have these different mechanicals that you can cancel out or do to then make your grind a little bit more enjoyable, or a little bit more customizable for the journey. But Path of Exile 2 doesn't have that yet. It's too early. They're still working through stuff. And I'm like, I don't really want to go through this Atlas tree in Path of Exile 2 because it stinks. I don't like this mapping because I got to go to these different nodes, with respect, to these different nodes that I'm just not having a good time with. Like, it's a lot that I'm like, it's there, but it's not there,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still enjoying it. I still think it's great. Okay, sorry. Thanks you for giving me that little rant.
Yeah, bro, that was good.
Feels good. All right, so let's go to addressing the community. Shout out to Rob Stone for commenting on episode 7 of Respec Games. The topic that he's referring to is the news article that we brought last week of Call of Duty being too big to fail. He says, let me get on my glasses so I can actually read this properly. He says, too big to fail. The irony of that statement, when I just watched a film about BlackBerry and their sudden rise and fall in the phone industry, is hilarious. As an aside, it's a great film. He says, other things that were too big to fail: the Titanic, Sega's home console market, the housing market, Diablo 4, VHS and cassettes. Nothing is ever too big to fail. Just because something is big with an established audience does not mean it always will be when technology or society moves on. Madden, FIFA, or Call of Duty will only be the top dog till the new game, new way to play, or a societal shift happens. Then it will have to adapt or fade away. Mario and Sonic stay relevant in the shifts from 2D to 3D by adapting, but those franchises are not the same now as they were 30 years ago. The only reason they didn't fail is they were not complacent and they adapted. And that is the best comment ever.
And I have a counter argument to that. And I'm only going to say I'm only going to say a counter argument because of what you said about Sonic, right? Sonic legitimately did fail. And I mean, and I don't mean like in the grand scheme of things, because and when I say fail, I think like, so their comics were still doing well, but for a very long time, Sonic the Hedgehog games were not successful.
No, they were.
Like,
they always were successful. They weren't good. That's different. Now them being not good versus them being successful is different.
Well, okay, yeah. So sales wise, yes, they were still selling games.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I remember like the Sonic 07 game.
Yeah. Yep. Popped
that
off,
game. I don't even think it popped off because if you remember around that time, Sonic Rush came out, and Sonic Rush was a DS game, and it outsold Sonic 07. Sonic 07 is the one with silver, and they implemented the new speed system where it would blur specifically around Sonic when he was running, but then you get the game and it was so buggy and incomplete and not feeling good. With Respect, I enjoyed the game personally because I'm a Sonic the Hedgehog like core diehard fan, right?
Yeah.
But I can notice when something was not great. And Sonic didn't make this big revolutionary turn back into like how mainstream viewed them
what was that
until
game
Sonic. Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations. We used to always that game called.
Yeah.
It was called Sonic the Hedgehog. But it's Sonic 07 is how most people would name it.
I see it. I'm very curious because there hasn't been a time where Sonic hasn't outsold expectations, unfortunately.
And that's fair, right? But that's what I'm saying is I guess I'll take back this successful statement, but
bad
Sonic
game,
Sonic was doing horrible to the point to where Nintendo low-key had to bring Sonic back up.
Yeah.
Sonic was, and it's because of Sega's overall downfall, like Rob Stone said, Sega had that big downfall,
right?
And it did take Sonic down with them, hugely. But they had to adapt, just like Rob Stone said. Without that adaptation, even with like how we talked about Sonic Cross Worlds, that game, in my opinion, is amazing, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when it comes to the topic. But it is a game that I feel like has made some adaptations that are very welcome in that sphere.
Yeah, so it definitely sold decently still. And it had pretty decent reviews, ironically enough. 77 on Metacritic. That's
which is crazy. The game was what was great about it was super buggy. What was great about it though was that you could do 1v1 races, and I missed that in Sonic games.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool. But there's some positivity within there somewhere. But yeah, interesting stuff, man. No, that comment is so real because it goes to what I was saying last week and like the societal shift. The minute Battlefield comes out and it's fucking just, it has 400,000 players on Steam and people are playing that battle royale mode and it's getting clipped everywhere and it's all spreading all over TikTok. And then a month later, Call of Duty comes out and people are like, what the hell is this? And it becomes cool to hate Call of Duty. Then that's when it's like, they should be worried. And I still think it is very capable of feel like BlackBerry.
Mm-hmm. And you know what else I think of? And I think about this because sometimes there are not direct competitors to a game, but the game, there is a societal shift, like you said, right? But you think of like Fight Night. Fight Night did not have a direct competitor. Yeah. They did not have a direct competitor, and it just fell off.
Champion, I think, fell off.
It felt like, okay, is this the pinnacle of what this game can be? And then the market for it just died.
Yep, completely died.
Completely died. To the point so good where it was good, right? To the point to where now the best boxing game is Undisputed, and
it's rough.
I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it is rough. Yeah. And then there's this other fighting game I just recently saw that gives you so much control, but the graphical like aspect of it is very minimal, but it gives you control and it makes you feel like you're legitimately boxing. And it's like you kind of have to, a lot of games have to give you something that makes you want to stick around. And Fight Night, for a while, when you were the only thing, you don't really want to do it anymore.
Yep. You don't have that competition. Like Rob Stone, that comment, it's the perfect explanation to what Call of Duty is, and they're going to be their own downfall, I think. And it started with them starting to put like Beavis and Butthead skins and stuff all in, and now they're like, okay, we're going to go back to the roots of Call of Duty, so those skins from Black Ops 6 and below doesn't carry over to Black Ops 7. So they're already trying to make that shift to kind of like course correct. We'll see if it's too late or not. Moving on to the news topic, which is going to be an interesting one. Tell dropped this news topic of Paramount producing a Call of Duty movie. What's that about?
Yeah. So, in a landmark collaboration, Paramount, a Skydance corporation, a global leader in film production and distribution, has signed a film deal with Activision, the powerhouse behind record-setting Call of Duty series. This partnership aims to bring the iconic Call of Duty universe to life on the big screen, delivering an unforgettable cinematic event for fans worldwide. One of the most successful video game franchises of all time, Call of Duty, has been the number one best-selling video game series in the U.S. for 16 consecutive years, with over 500 million copies sold globally, reaching hundreds of millions of players worldwide, and driving pop culture conversations for 2 decades.
So
under this milestone, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't. Is any of that?
It's probably not relevant. No.
Yeah, we don't have to read it. So the thing about this is that it could be, and it's ironic that the conversation we just was talking about with Call of Duty, but it could be so good because you know what I think about?
What's that?
Modern Warfare 3. Is it Modern Warfare 3 or Modern Warfare 2?
I think it's 2 and it leads into 3.
Yes,
but
yes. Because at the end of 2, what happens with Price and all, like that shit would be a fantastic movie, a fantastic action movie. And even if you decide to do the no Russia scene, like it's just, oh my God, there's so many ways, and it's just my cinematography brain is going the fuck off right now because there's so many avenues you could take it. If it does the Modern Warfare series, and it has to, if you want to go in the past, don't do any of the World at Wars or anything like that. Do Black Ops. And I'm talking the original Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. Those two stories will also, and like the Vietnam War, and it will be fantastic if they went that route with the story, because the story of Call of Duty, I will say, is special, especially in the original. And I'm talking the Xbox 360 Modern Warfare 2 into 3, not the remakes that they did later on down the road, but the originals be a great story.
And I agree. And you know what immediately came to mind for me?
What's that?
Was the Cold War sniper mission.
Oh, I forgot.
And I'm just like, oh my God, bro. They could make that so cinematic. They have so many different avenues and elements that they can work with that could be amazing, right? And they talk about how that franchise has sold 500 million copies every time, right? Yep. It sells so much, obviously. That fan base is going to be extremely receptive and reactive to some of that.
But I think only if they do the classics, though. The Modern Warfare 2 to 3 or the Black Ops.
The original Black Ops. I think Black Ops 1 to 2.
Yep. So I think if they did that, it would be, because what it would be is it'd get the new people that's never played those, right? That never played those games, and it'd get us, like the millennials that grew up with it, extremely interested in it. But I don't see them going this route because it'll just work. And the problem with this is, okay, so Activision signed this deal with Skydance, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think about? I think about the catastrophe with Respect. That was the Halo TV series. It was so bad, Till. Remember, Activision is Microsoft
I watched
now.
It.
Yeah, it was so bad, bro. So that's where my mind goes, unfortunately.
And I understand that, right? I guess what I'm thinking, and this is why we know that film production takes a while. I don't think that this is going to be any Call of Duty we currently know.
It can't be. It shouldn't be.
I think that this will be, because like you were saying, Call of Duty 2 and 3 could be amazing for this exact like project, right?
Or even Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare into 1, 2, and 3. Like you could do those, that whole trilogy, the whole original trilogy.
I think 100%, but I don't think they're going to do that. And I say that because they have to pair it with a release. Yep. They release a game every year and give it two years down the line. They're going to release this with something.
I think you're absolutely
with right. The game specifically to go with this. So it's like, not only do you buy the game, you get to pair that experience with the movie as well.
Tell you're right. I think you're right. I think that's like spot on. Oh, that's so sad. That makes me so sad.
But they could go back to form. You know what I mean? They could go back to form and go to something, bring Price back. Yeah. Because there are so many different missions they could do that just covers like the history of that character and that timeline in general. You know what I mean?
I think Call of Duty would be is this a movie, they said? Or TV show?
It is a movie.
Okay.
It's a movie.
It'll be such an easy movie to do because of the fact is the campaign is about 6 hours long usually for all like the 3 classics. If we go back to the originals, they're about 6 hours long. So if you take away the fact that, you're the player, you got to walk through these levels, you could really do this. It could really turn out to be a almost Band of Brothers-esque epic type of movie trilogy, if you will. Band of Brothers being my favorite military show of all time. But yeah,
and in this, they don't directly say where they're going to lean, but it says they want to bring what has made Call of Duty so famous, or give a cinematic perspective to what has made Call of Duty so big in the first place. And unforgettable blockbuster movie experience that our community loves. And it's like, that's all over the place, bro. That's all over the place.
It's so broad. Dude. It's so funny. It's ironic that we just talked about how Call it the topic last week, and then this one is. That's why when I saw you drop this in there, I'm like, this is perfect, because it's a damn near a contradiction to everything that we talked about last week of them being too big to fail. But this could be, the scale or the hump that broke the camel's back, whatever the saying is.
The pin that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, because it could be a real terrible adaptation. It just proves that you guys are dead. Phoning it in, dead in the water. Or if they do what we suggest, if they take a page out of the Respec Productions book, mm-hmm. It could be super successful and it could be huge, but I doubt it. All right, moving on.
Paramount, you heard it.
Moving on, All
right, Apollo, what's your first thing for new and upcoming releases?
New and upcoming releases. Borderlands 4 is out September 12th on PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X consoles. And it comes out October 3rd for Nintendo Switch 2. Funny enough. I'm anticipating this as much as Battlefield 6. Because I just love the Borderlands series. While Borderlands 3 wasn't that great, I did play through all of Tiny Tina Wonderlands, which was decent. I need a return to form Borderlands, and this one seems to be the epic I want. I just watched videos recently. I told myself I wasn't going to watch any videos, but I was laying down the other day, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just take a gander at this. And this was going to be my Respec badge, but their marketing has been fantastic. I mean, they've done it absolutely right. Gave people previews and let them say whatever they wanted. So YouTubers came back and they gave us the full spiel of how they feel about it and what it's looking like. And people that are experiencing the Borderlands verse, they're super excited about it. And that made me excited about it, because the disappointment that was Borderlands 3 and the short, like, bite-sized taste of goodness that was Tiny Tina Wonderland, this is seeming to turn out to be an epic kind of game. Now, what they did that was interesting to me, though, is that you get a pre-order bonus if you pre-order, right? Most people shouldn't pre-order in 2025, but because most people did, they're excited about Borderlands 4. They decided to add more rewards to their pre-orders. So that I'm like, yo, that's actually extremely dope. Like, they added more guns and more, just more things. And now the pre-order guns in Borderlands, in every single Borderlands game, has always been terrible since the Xbox 360. Like, they purposely, they're like satirical guns, because like, if you don't have these pre-order guns and they're overpowered, then that's kind of like messed up. So they kind of make these satirical guns that are fun to play with. Obviously, they aren't powerful, but they're just fun to play with. And they just added more stuff because it was the top pre-order game on Steam. And they're like, hey, well, because of that, here, you get more pre-order stuff. I'm like, that's super cool. That's super dope. So I'm excited for Borderlands 4. I'm already a Vex main, and Vex is the siren of this, as
always
the siren of the Borderlands series. Which, again, I think this is great, and it doesn't matter because each Borderlands characters has
whatever you want.
3 tiers, 3 trees, so you kind of dive in and come up with something crazy. But I'm looking forward to it. Sorry, I had to get my excitement out for Borderlands, but I'm super excited about that. So what do you have for the new and upcoming releases?
Real quick, I just gotta say this about Borderlands. I think Borderlands is one of the only games that I have beaten solo every single time.
Really?
Like, I've played with the boys before, you know what I mean, and gotten really far. but it's always been a game that I'll play and I just beat it solo. It just I have enjoyed Borderlands every single time, bro.
It's a game I never beat solo.
It's so ridiculous that like it's just worth it to keep playing. Yeah. It's just worth it. Yeah, I love Borderlands. I didn't play any of the spin-offs really, like the crazy dude, what was his name? I can't remember his name. But Handsome Jack.
Yep. Tells on the Borderlands with the Handsome Jack.
Loved this character though. I think he was a phenomenal villain. Agreed. But man, all right. Dragon Ball Gekishin. Gekishin. It is a MOBA for Dragon Ball.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's been in beta for like a year now.
When does it come out?
Early access, but it comes out September 9th, 2025, which is in 18 minutes from right now. And it's a game that I am going to pick up and just mess around with, just because I have been looking interested in getting a new like MOBA kind of like game to play.
Yeah.
Just something quick, easy to jump into and play. It is on iOS, PC, Android, Xbox, and PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch, but it's not out. It's not going to be out on Nintendo Switch when it releases for everything else.
Okay. Interesting. A MOBA Dragon Ball game.
Yeah. It's going to scratch an itch that I've had for a while.
Did you turn on Heroes of the Storm at one point?
I did, and I played it, and I won 2 matches, and I turned it off.
For the uninitiated, Till had a Heroes of the Storm arc, and was it college?
No, it was when I moved to North Carolina, because that's when the early access started.
Okay, well after. What the hell am I thinking? My time's all screwed up. But yeah, no, it's he had an arc of Heroes of the Storm where he brought all of us in at one point. We teaching us how to play it. It was a good time. It was a good time.
I stole the bros.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And to be fair, Polo always had critical input to the game, but he faithfully played with me. Faithfully.
Yeah. I enjoyed playing with you, and then I forget what happened. Is that WASD movement? No, right? It's still click to move.
Yeah, it was click to move.
Yeah. I think with League of Legends getting WASD movement is going to change the game.
Yeah, they got some stuff coming soon. That's coming soon too. That I hope I get into that beta.
Cooking. All right, now the critical hit for today's. This one, I'm not sure where you're going. This is still critical hit. I want to know where exactly you're going with this one, because what I did was I read the first bullet point and I'm like, okay, I'm curious. What spurred this critical hit about?
So specifically what brought this about was my recent gameplay of Sonic Cross Worlds, and then Mario, the Mario game,
Mario Kart,
Mario Kart Worlds. And it is the way that they perceive the terminology world, right? And how they do this thing. And I've looked at some comparisons of the game and what people love and dislike about both games, right?
Okay.
And let me tell you, it made me think, is comparison the thief of joy? And I was wondering, like, just quick question to you, Brillosaurus Rex. Is comparison the thief of joy? How do you feel about comparison of two different things, whether it be games, whether it be anything? How do you feel about comparison?
So, it's such a tough question, because we always talk about this in the anime space too. Anything and everything can be compared. It can be. Now, does comparing it ruin the joy of playing said thing or enjoying said thing? I think it can. I do. Because what happens is, let's say, and this goes back to the topic earlier, or the news article earlier, but let's say we play Battlefield. Okay. We enjoy Battlefield. We enjoy the gunplay at Battlefield. We like the large team battles and the expansive maps and the vehicles and stuff like that. And then we play Call of Duty. And you're just, everybody's sprinting super fast and super twitchy, super quick, and very arcadey gunplay. And like, I'm not having fun because this is not what I've been playing Battlefield for a month, and it's been this methodical, strategic, like very skill based. What feels like less skill based, but more team based gameplay, opposed to this twitchy arcadey. And I think that will be the thief of the joy of trying to enjoy Call of Duty, or it could be just the fact that Call of Duty is getting stale. Two things could be true, I guess, but I do think, yes, comparison is the thief of joy, because I find myself whenever I'm playing Path of Fire. Sorry, I'm getting my Guild Wars 2 mixed up with my Owlcat games. My Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, and then I go to something like Baldur's Gate 3. It was almost next to impossible to go back to Wrath of the Righteous, because Baldur's Gate 3 looks so good. The gameplay is brilliant. The class setup is amazing. It feels like you can build anything and become strong, while Wrath of the Righteous has like meta builds that you kind of have to play with, and it's much more, I guess, it's deeper but more complicated, and it becomes like a kind of a, you got to kind of have a degree to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, yeah. I'm like, I don't really want to play this right now when I could just play Baldur's Gate 3. So yeah, yes. The answer to that is yes. It can be the thief of joy, because again, Wrath of the Righteous, I have 300 hours in, but because I played Baldur's Gate 3 shortly after that came out, it's kind of hard for me to go Wrath of the Righteous. You know what I'm saying?
And
yeah.
And I agree with a lot of what you said, but I do think that comparisons are important.
I do.
Comparisons are important for development specifically, right?
Yeah.
And I say that because if I'm playing my favorite game of all time, I play Sonic the Hedgehog 1, right? The original Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic Adventure. And then I go to Sonic Adventure 2, and nothing changed. It didn't get less boogie. It didn't get better graphics. It didn't get better movement, anything like that. I do have to compare it to the original. And then I play, let's say, Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy. And it's like, man, the world is so expansive. There's so much going on. The enemies are diverse. Yeah. There's so much to collect and do in this game.
Then you play Mario Sunshine.
Right. Then you play Mario Sunshine. You're like, man, there's so much in this game. You can go into the water, blah, 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 all these things, right? But then I'm like, but they don't have the Chow Garden. And you're like, you have to compare these things in these games that some may have and some may not. And you'll find different reasons to love or dislike another game, right? Like, I'm definitely still willing to pick up Call of Duty just to run and gun. 100%. But am I 100% also going to pick up Battlefield because I actually want to play a game that feels possibly more refined, more tactical? I'm going to say comparison can be the thief of joy. But I do think that when you do really enjoy some things, there's a time and place for everything.
Ooh.
But I do want to go to the next little bullet point I have here. What are some instances that it's important to compare games? Ooh. And now, like I said, in terms of like development, obviously I think that's important to do when we're developing games or when we're looking at what's the next level, what's the next step in a game. What do you think? When do you think it's important to compare games? If you think it's important at all?
I do think it's important. And the reason why I say that is because I think game development is some of the toughest competition there is in any space. And the reason why I say that is because the amount of money that goes into creating video games is far beyond anything movies do. It's far beyond anything TV show. It's astronomical in comparisons. So it is important to compare to, like you said, developers to compare themselves to each other. Because if you just stay plateaued, you don't get any growth. And unfortunately, this is a growth industry, a numbers go up type of industry. So you gotta you got to say like, okay, if I'm going to come out with, this is a great example. Suicide Squad, right? The WB game that came out failed relatively, like almost instantly. It seems like they relied on the fact that they were Rocksteady and that it was Suicide Squad, that they were going to sell gangbusters. They didn't, obviously, hence why they failed. But they relied on that instead of taking their time to compare, like, okay, this is a game. We're trying to do something that this game is doing, but we're going to do nothing like this game, i.e. Destiny or something at the time, or, you know, whatever looter shooter you want to compare it to. It don't matter. Points remain the same, that instead of striving to be better than those or more unique than those, or the Marvel Avengers game that came out too, that also failed, unfortunately. Like, these games relied on the namesake to become something, and they end up failing. They just end up becoming very surface level looter shooters that just weren't where they're. For one, they shouldn't have been looter shooters, and two, they failed to what's the word I'm looking for? To expand on this particular genre. It's just rough. It's just rough.
And I think the word you said, expand, is exactly what I was looking for, right?
Sorry, one more thing before we continue. I don't want to lose it.
Go ahead.
It's also important to compare when you do a sequel, i.e. Hollow Knight versus Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm sure people are comparing the first one to this one now. And Path of Exile to Path of Exile 2. Those two comparisons. Now, those two are working in tandem together, and they still get compared constantly because of their direct sequel from each other. But yeah, that is, I think, is also important when it comes to sequelization of a series as well. Sorry.
But I do want to continue with like you said. So you said expand, and I think of specifically, not all of Nintendo, but I think of Nintendo, and I think of how they try and put themselves in this place to where they're not comparable. Yes. But we have to compare some of their mainstay games. You know what I mean? Yep. Sonic the Hedgehog versus Mario is a constant comparison. But I would like to go as far as Pokemon versus Digimon. And while I am a huge Pokemon fan, one of the things that Pokemon has not done in a very long time is switch up the gameplay. And I'll tell you, and I think they are adding. Well, I think that they have, right?
Arceus.
But that's a recent thing. Digimon has done
every time almost, yeah.
All the different genres. They have done mystery games. They have done visual novels. They have done turn-based Persona-esque games.
Open world.
And they have done games where you have to literally hatch your own egg, go into the open world and battle other Digimon. They have done all kinds of different aspects of the game. And while I do think, yes, you have like Pokemon, the Rancher games, you have the
Pokemon
the top-down tactics games. Yeah, you have those. The games for Pokemon that are like your main focal point, they don't really have that build diversity, so to speak. Like, you don't have that seemingly you don't have that diverse gameplay is how I would necessarily see it. And I think that the comparison, and that's what sucks about comparisons, is that there's not really a title that you just throw next to Pokemon and say, what's the comparison here? And it challenges the monopoly that is Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I say monopoly intentionally because it is kind of that. It has a chokehold on the monster tamer game realm so much to where, like, this new game is called Anemo. I don't know if you saw the beta for it, but there was a huge beta for it where people were just like, oh, this is it. They loved it. When Power World came out,
that was huge.
Everyone jumped on it. You know what I mean? It did amazing in no time because it put you in the same realm as what Pokemon was supposed to be, but challenged what they have done the entire time. And that's why I think the comparison is so important. That was one of the times that made me super ecstatic as, like I said, a Pokemon fan, something challenged them. Something said, you have to stand up and fight now.
Do you think
and
it
I
worked?
think that's what I do. I think it worked a bit. I'm not going to say it worked a ton, but I do think, and I'll say this as a speculation, I'm not confirming anything. I have no idea to know, but I actually don't think that, I think after this ZA game that they will not make another turn-based game. I think their turn-based game is strictly going to be Pokemon Champions.
Wait, okay, it's just your speculation, obviously. So we're gonna.
And I say that because Pokemon Champions you can play on your phone, you're going to be able to play on your Switch, and it's going to be updatable, so they add more Pokemon in the future. I don't think that they're going to make another turn-based Pokemon game as their mainline game. I think every Pokemon game they make is going to be open world, like Legends ZA and like Legends Arceus. I think that's going to be their new formula. So
now, correct me if I'm wrong. ZA and all of them are still turn-based, though, right?
No.
At all.
Legends Arceus is turn-based. Pokemon Legends ZA will have no turn-based combat in it.
How does it work? Now, expound on that for me real quick. I know that's a little side tangent, but I need to know.
So you will enter battles with Pokemon, and you and your Pokemon will both have to dodge attacks live and in motion.
Whoa.
And you will have cooldowns on your attacks based on the level of power that those attacks have.
Whoa.
So there will be no turn-based competition, turn-based battling. There's cooldowns on your attacks now.
How do you feel about that?
I kind of love it.
Do you
mostly
really?
because I do, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. I feel like the idea of Pokemon got challenged to the point to where they had to make a large enough difference. And I can still do my turn-based Pokemon battles right here. I can pick up my Switch and still do my turn-based strategic Pokemon battles there. But the actual story of the game is now more technically engaging. Like while you're playing, you literally are engaging in the combat in ways in which like you haven't had to technically engage in a Pokemon game ever.
I want to get a Switch 2 now so bad.
Yeah.
Wow. That, I'm not in the Nintendo verse at all anymore. And that just excited me a lot. Cause I'm like, wait, why is he saying it like it's not going to be turn-based anymore, period? That blew my mind, actually. That's impressive. Wow. Okay.
But that's also why I think it's very important to compare games.
Yeah.
I think that it breaks up, like I said before, that monopoly of a company. It breaks up the stranglehold that some companies may have.
Because
and it also, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because when you compare, you then think to yourself like, okay, why would I keep buying this when I got Power World? And Power World is much more engaging, like you said.
Right. And then as a developer or a future, hopefully a large game developer, it gives me something to aspire to as well. I'm looking at other games and I'm saying, I love this aspect of it, but what do I want to tweak or make better? I look at the games I play and I really enjoy, and it makes me look at other games and say, okay, well, if I really like Hollow Knight, if I really like Power World, if I really like Mass Effect, how do I find those games that are in that genre that I really enjoy? I would even say we've done it with anime when it even came to things like Slice of Life. How did I find the ones that I really enjoy? I had to find a formula, so to speak.
Yep.
So the comparison became important to me.
All right. So what are the most valid comparisons in your opinion? Most valid for me, I think, is the shooter space in Battlefield and Call of Duty. I think that's valid. Yeah. Because one, I would. I think one don't exist without the other. Like if we didn't have Battlefield, we would continue to get bad Call of Duties. And if we just had Battlefield or no Call of Duty, then we would probably just have a bunch of Battlefield 2042s, which wasn't a great game at launch.
When it comes to like the valid comparisons of games, and I say this specifically, and I think that I'm not going to bring up like a one-to-one comparison for these games, but more of the comparison to gaming that they created when they came out. But like Baldur's Gate 3 and Clair Obscur Expedition 33. everything, and by everything I mean like in large scale, the AAA gaming community was immediately compared to these games when they released.
Big time.
And it wasn't about, oh, the graphics for this game is so good. It wasn't the gameplay for this game is so good. It wasn't the voice acting for these games is so good. It wasn't the expectations for these games were so crazy that they delivered on. It was the fact that it did all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It did all of that. It didn't oversell itself. If anything, it undersold itself.
100%.
And it over delivered. It gave you something that just felt out of this world, fresh and new. Yeah. And it forced everything in that gaming realm or spectrum to stop and say, look at this. Yeah. I don't remember a game that came out and caused as much attention as Expedition 33.
Or Baldur's Gate.
Or Baldur's Gate 3, exactly. But that's the point I'm making, is that when that game came out, when Starfield came out, and I think the game is great now, but when it came out, people had valid complaints.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that there is a lot of love even put into that game, but there was engine complaints and everything like that. Yeah. And not to be a direct comparison, but other games came out with studios who have far less resources, far less, to actually time to even put into something like this and make it as refined as they did. And they succeeded.
Oh, man,
and I think that's the comparison. That's what I would say is the most valid comparison, is looking at something that was arguably not supposed to succeed as well as it did, but it did.
Bruh, you know what I think about when you mentioned that particular part of it? I think about when Baldur's Gate 3 was coming out. It was before it came out, and people were like, don't, because people played it early, and there was developers coming out saying, hey, don't think, or don't let Baldur's Gate 3 set the bar or something like that. Or it was something along the lines of like, hey, Baldur's Gate is essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, but they were the exception, not the rule, and don't expect it to become the rule is essentially what they were trying to say.
Right.
In so many words. And everybody was like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, you should strive to be up to or better than Baldur's Gate 3, not setting yourself back by saying we can't live up to that. Or they did the same thing with Red Dead Redemption, and they're definitely going to do the same thing with Grand Theft Auto 6. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think, yeah. Crazy.
That's perfect, bro. That's perfect. And that makes me also want to add, what limitations should gamers set on comparisons, right? Because we have to be realistic with comparisons.
Yeah.
I do think that while I mentioned Baldur's Gate and Claire Obscure Expedition 33, that while I wish that they were not the exception, that we do kind of have to come to terms in reality a little bit that they are exceptional.
I don't agree. I think everybody should want to be more exceptional than the last. Use it as motivation. Don't use it as like don't expect us to be up to that level. Don't use it to set yourself a lower bar because of these games are, like you said, exceptional. Mm-hmm. Even though they are, try to become exceptionaler. Yes, I made that up. I know that's not a word, but.
And I 100% agree with that. I don't want those games to be the exception. Yeah. I think, like you said, and I understand that with time and development, obviously the gaming sphere is the game development is expensive.
Yeah.
But you think about how, man, and I really sincerely feel this. I think at some point, movies are just going to be interactive games, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be watching movies at home, and it's going to feel almost borderline like we're in a game, because that stimuli that you get from playing a game is just going to be so exceptional. But I think that the idea that we get these certain games that exceed what we did expect, I don't want them to be the exception. But I would say, if realistically, the limitations that we should set as gamers, in terms of comparison, is almost, I would say, even sometimes genre to genre based.
Oh,
you know
okay,
what I mean?
Okay.
Like, let's say I'm not going to compare. Like, I might compare a Cyberpunk-esque game to another Cyberpunk game. Like, if I'm going to compare Cyberpunk and Starfield, there are comparisons that can be made, but they're two very different kind of like cyber futuristic kind of games.
Yeah.
Like, Cyberpunk is Cyberpunk. Starfield is more space centric. You know what I mean? It's a more worldly, adventure centric game in that regard.
With an old school aesthetic, if that makes sense, even though it's futuristic. Like Fallout is.
But No Man's Sky, I could more realistically compare to Starfield.
Yeah.
There's a basis for that, so to speak. So I think that the comparison should be a little bit more one-to-one direct when it comes to that kind of scenario.
Limitations, right?
I mean, you were already spitting with what you said before.
Yeah, I'm about to say because what you said also is a bar, because you could talk genre base wise too, but like when it comes to awards, which is the only award we got, which is the Video Game Awards, when you talk about Game of the Year, it's not separated by genre. You know what I'm saying? It's just like fucking Astrobot won, I think, last year. Over Black Myth Wukong and all these other games that, you know, are more my speed, I should say. Mm-hmm. But like, I think Sven, the Baldur's Gate studio head, said it the best. If developers continue to make the games they want to play, then the limitation of comparison wouldn't be a problem. Mm-hmm. Because what's happening is now studios are making games that's going to make the most money, while you have the very few and far between are making games that they want to play. Hello Games with Light No Fire, whatever the hell Larian's going to cook up next, the Expedition Studio, whatever they're going to cook up next, they're making games that they want to play, while the bigger studios are making games that sell. And there, I think, is where the comparison limitations should. I don't know how to word it, man. Because I don't
stop.
Yeah.
Or go.
Yeah, exactly. Should just disappear. Should just make games that y'all want to play as developers, and then you'll become. I think that breeds success.
Yeah, and to hit the last bullet point, comparison that you would like to see. I think what you just said is the exact comparison I would like to see. I want to see, because there are still going to be games that make a lot of money for a reason.
Yep.
It's not that the developers necessarily want to make that game. It's that there are a large group of people who do want to play those games. And I think that there should be a more heavily focused emphasis, especially by these large game developers, where there are people who are making games who are putting their heart and soul into something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like that heart and soul resonance is palpable. It's real. You can feel it when you play a game.
Yep.
Like like I said, I still hear the music from Claire Obscure Expedition 33, but I still feel the visuals from Cyberpunk 2077. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel the characters from that game and related to them. And I haven't beat the game, but I just feel like there's a lot of soul in so many different aspects of those games.
God, you gotta beat it.
So I would like to see comparisons be made in terms of, I want to see those people really put their heart and souls in the games.
Yeah, you know what? I think the perfect balance between studio moneymaker and soul into the game is unironically Grand Theft Auto and the Rockstar team. When it comes to Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto, they put their motherfucking foot in everything they do. And but
it makes money.
It makes a shit ton of money as well. And because of that, They invest in themselves. So the comparison I would like to see made is I want to see more I don't know, man. I just want to remain respectful here. I just want to see I just want to see God, I don't know, man. I just want to see more. More uniqueness, man. That's it. More unique games. Cuz dude, I just think about Metaphor, ReFantazio, and how unique that story and game was. And I think about Claire and Baldur's Gate, and I just think it's like, why do people see those successes and don't want to throw their hat in that ring and compare them, like, and just work the way they worked? You know what I'm saying? Like, they just make whatever they want to make. I'm looking forward to Judas because I feel like that's another game that's doing whatever, and we can talk about that in another episode, but doing whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it just looks like it's going to be interesting, and I can't wait. Judas is the creator of BioShock is actually creating a game called Judas, and it looks very, very interesting, and I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Which BioShock was an amazing game, by the way.
Yeah, one of my favorites, probably. But yeah, I'm into it. Let's get to game over. I'm rambling.
No, you was on point, bro. All right. My game over. I will be playing Hollow Knight Continued. I will also be playing the Dragon Ball MOBA. And hopefully, though, I want to be able to put enough time into Hollow Knight to get to Hollow Knight Silk Song this week at some point. Okay. But I know that's going to be a lot of time, but I'm going to try.
Is Hollow Knight short?
It's like a 30-hour game, bro.
No shot. Is it really?
Yeah, from what I've looked up, I looked up how long does it take to beat Hollow Knight. They said speedrunners get it done in about 2 hours.
What the 27 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. Yeah, you ain't getting a Silk Song this week. No, sir. No, sir. Me, Borderlands 4.
What's your game over, brother?
Borderlands 4. It will be Borderlands 4.
Same. I forgot.
I can't freaking wait. Again, I'm a Vex main. Siren, summons. I'm all for it. Yeah. And also, Guild Wars 2 video. I'm gonna try to get it done this week. Get it posted up. So please look forward to that. Any last words, Till? Before game over?
Bruh, I have so much respect for everything that was said. It was a lot of fun.
Great episode. All right. And with that, respect the game. Peace.